Hi everyone, we're back on the Irish Pod couch here, and this week we're at the Call and Contact Centre Expo, and I'm delighted to be joined by Gerry Brown, otherwise known as the customer Lifeguard.
Yep, that's me.
That's your brand. What does a customer Lifeguard do, Gerry?
Well, we save the world from bad customer service. And,
I'm into that.
Yeah, I think I think you guys do as well, and I think there's no question that despite all of the advances that we're seeing in technology and people becoming more aware of it, there's still lots of challenges out there. So I like working with organizations that are keen to actually make a difference as opposed to just saying it, and of course finding exciting new technologies that can help them do that.
Yeah, and I think we first met, enjoyed our conversation immensely at the CCMA conference earlier this year.
That's
in October.
Right. We did.
We found out that we both we had something in common.
We did.
We both formerly refereed professional ice hockey, so that's kind of interesting.
I think you had a slight edge. It wasn't professional for me, but it was fun, and I think you're right. It's not every day you bump into someone and say, "Oh yeah, I refereed hockey games," and so on. So it was interesting, and of course, as what comes with that is a love for the game as well. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Back to the kind of customer experience side, I think
Sure.
you picked up on a key point. A lot of companies talk about it. They don't necessarily follow through with actually executing an exceptional customer experience.
Sure.
And I think what's really important for this event is the actual coalface of people speaking to people in your contact center is really make or break time for your brand, and really walking the talk, I suppose, in the customer experience sense.
Absolutely, and I think we hear people complaining about contact center agents and all of the issues they've got, and I recognize it's a really hard job. And the way I say it to people is, most of those people don't get up in the morning and go, "Well, I wonder how many people I can upset today." They really do want to do a good job. I know that, but they're hamstrung. And it could be their CRM doesn't work properly, or they can't find the details of the customer. And of course, to what Iris is involved in, the fact that quite often either they can't hear or the customer can't hear because of all the background noise. I can't think of how many times I've talked to a contact center agent. I can hear all the background noise. I can hear all them talking to other customers, and it's both disconcerting for me. It's off-putting for the agent, and so that creates a tense environment. I think anywhere where you've got that, I mean, that's what organizations need to do, whether it's using a product like Iris or giving them the tools that they can really need to do the job, to feel confident. Because if you have a confident agent, he or she knows where to find the data. He or she knows that the person can hear them well and I can hear them. It makes a huge difference in how that interaction goes. Because typically when someone's calling a contact center or a customer service center, it's usually because something's gone wrong. They're not calling just to have a nice chat. They've tried online, they've done different things. Now I'm calling, I need you to help me. So if I encounter a barrier from noise or whatever it happens to be, I'm just going to be a much more frustrated customer.
I think that's important. We've talked about this a lot, the premium nature. If you're, and it probably has evolved to this, if you now are speaking to someone,
yes,
that is an important conversation for both the customer and the company. It's either going to be something to protect revenue or deal with a massive issue where something hasn't been delivered, or
Indeed.
some transaction that is almost always going to be of a higher value.
Yes.
Therefore, why would you not
invest
in that experience? It kind of seems a little bit preposterous to me that people wouldn't.
Well, it does, and it comes back to the question that I often ask organizations that I do work with, because many times I start working with an organization doing a side-by-side with an agent. And one of the questions I often ask them is, when was the last time your CEO, managing director, whatever it is, when was the last time they sat and took calls with you? Never, or very rarely. And it wouldn't take much for, again, one of the senior team to be sitting there listening to a call and listening, looking at or feeling the environment and the noise. It wouldn't take much for them to go, "Wow, how do you do this for 8 hours a day?" And it's just having that kind of connection is so important, for any of the technologies they're using, but specifically something like this.
I think we saw that. We did a roundtable discussion yesterday with William Carson from Ascensos.
Yes.
We have the Ascensos agents on the stand.
Yes.
The award-winning Ascensos agents.
They did. I was at the award dinner last night and saw them win. Yeah, it was great.
So we had William Carson, we had Simon Black from Awaken and Neil, hosted by Diana. And we started off the talk by asking the audience, how many of you perceive background noise to be detrimental to your operation?
Yes.
A lot of hands went up. So people recognized it. And then the second question to follow up was, how many of you have asked your agents how annoying it is? And a lot of those hands went down. I found that quite interesting, and it reflects your point that, you know, even at a CEO level, you need to spend time with your staff that are speaking to your customers, that's your revenue,
yes,
and understand how that's going.
Well, I've often made a remark. If I've had that experience, I've certainly remarked on it, and I have, in fact, I can't remember how many times, but obviously not enough, actually gone back to the company and said, you know, I was having a conversation and it was really hard to hear. You need to invest. And this was probably before I discovered Iris and what you guys do, and I was talking about, you know, call canceling headsets and all that kind of stuff, thinking that was the way to go. But of course, as I've found out since we've been talking, it's not just that side of the conversation that we're concerned about, and that's a very important aspect of it, making sure that both sides of the conversation, especially now we're making calls from trains, and it could be here. I mean, this is pretty noisy, and if you had to call your bank this morning to do something and you happen to be here, it wouldn't be easy. So it's just, you know, we just got to recognize where these situations occur, which is just about everywhere, every day, and do something about it.
I mean, that's why we've got the team from Ascensos here doing calls as a demonstration of the power. I think it's vitally important. Lots of people have been kind of amazed that we would even attempt that stunt.
Yes, you do that, yeah. Daring.
Why not? Why not?
Well, exactly.
Got to test it at the most.
What a great place to show it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who else are you looking forward to seeing, Gerry, at the show today?
Well, I'm very keen. You know, I've been a big fan of not saying technology is the answer. What was the question? I do believe, you know, it does play such a key role. So I'm very interested in conversational AI. I think that can, again, where it's appropriate, and it's not appropriate everywhere, but where appropriate, then I think being able to handle interactions that way, what I would call low complexity and low value, not meaning to diminish it, but where you can get away, if that's the right term, with having an intelligent voice agent answer the call. Yes. So just being able to, whether it's where's my order, you know, where's my refund, just the basic stuff that we know can be done, it can be very effective. So I'm keen on that. I'm a big fan, having worked at Genesis for a long time, a big fan of the omni-channel platform, so I always like to see, you know, what advances are being made there. So really just to kind of get a sense of, I know there's nothing brand new. I mean, we see most of it. I mean, we see things online these days, but it's nice to see people, see friends. It's both a combination sort of networking, but also to see what's going on, and obviously to experience things like this.
Gerry, for people that want to get in touch with you, find out more about how you can help their business, where can they go to? What can they? Well,
they can find my website, which is the customerlifeguard.co.uk. They can find me at Gerry-Brown at thecustomerlifeguard.co.uk, and I'm always happy to hopefully try and practice what I preach in terms of responding to people, you know, when they reach out to me. So always happy to help. And, you know, we have a chat, we talk to people. You know, the conversation of that kind is a great door opener. It's always free. I'm happy to spend time with people to see if there's a fit. If there is, great. If it's not, we shake hands and move on. But always delighted to talk about how both technology, but also some of the strategy, bringing it together can really help.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Gerry. Appreciate you.
My pleasure, Tom.
Yeah, chatting today.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
We'll be back with more content on the Iris Pod. My voice is almost recovered, but I understand that Diana is actually far superior than me at doing these, so maybe she'll continue anyway. We'll speak to you soon. Cheers.